This week is shaping up to be potentially one of the most important and maybe craziest trading weeks that we have had all year and maybe even all year to come. You're probably thinking it is something to do with the FOMC, Jerome Powell, and interest rates, and you wouldn't be wrong, but you wouldn't have the whole picture. We actually have multiple events this week coming together to create potentially an insane move in the markets that really nobody's talking about yet. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to jump into this, but as we do, hit the like button, subscribe, join us for more of this content, and buckle up because this really kind of slow year is looking to potentially shift gears. Now, we will get into Powell and 𝐕𝐷, and we will be covering that on Wednesday, but there's another event potentially coming sooner that may have a broader impact on markets that you're not watching. In August of 2024, the Bank of Japan raised interest rates by 0.25%. This was an unexpected move, and within 3 days, the VIX, a volatility measurement of stocks, went from 23 to 65. Basically, US stocks crashed, and this trigger came from Tokyo, not from here at home or Wall Street. Basically, one sentence from a Tokyo press conference unwound trillions of dollars in cross-asset positioning. Almost nobody is talking about this, as the Bank of Japan is in talks right now today, starting today, and they will be having a press conference tomorrow in the early Eastern time. So we'll probably cover it. I don't have the exact time yet, but when I do, I'll pin it to this live stream in the messages, and hopefully we'll cover it. Basically, everyone's fixated on the Fed, and that could be the setup for the trade that no one's talking about. For 20 years, hedge funds, institutions, big players have been essentially borrowing the yen at 0% from the Bank of Japan, and even at negative interest rates before. Taking that money and parking it in the US dollar or in US assets that are paying a stable and safe 4 to 5%. It's pretty brilliant. They pocket the fee for the spread or arbitrage, and they make effectively very low risk capital, very low risk gains. This is called the carry trade, or the yen carry trade, and it funds trillions of dollars across the globe. It is in fact the most crowded trade on the planet. It only works though as the JPY stays weak and as the interest rate for the Bank of Japan stays low. And what we've seen starting in 2024, we've seen that interest rate go from negative. I didn't know I had this chat box behind me. Negative, sorry guys. Negative to positive. That alone was a huge shift in momentum, a huge shift for markets globally. Into 2024, July, they had their first interest rate into positive, first interest rate hike into positive territory, but it was unexpected by markets. Basically, we had a insane move to the downside. There was chaos everywhere, and that's right about here on this chart. Since then, we've continued through time. We've had some expected, there's actually more in between, expected interest rate cuts that were not really big shakeups in the market, as it was priced in. Largely the effect was absorbed before the event, but we have a potential another hike or cut, another change coming up this week. All right, let me get back on topic here. Basically, when the yen strengthens or interest rates increase, that margin for those borrowers for the yen carry trade gets smaller and smaller and smaller. We're talking about huge amounts of money looking to just skim off the arbitrage opportunity there. And as the interest rates increase and the yen strengthens, we have a problem. That profit margin shrinks, and some of those assets need to be liquidated, basically. That can cause downward pressure on markets completely globally, and it forces them to buy back the yen and get out of the U.S. assets, stocks or bonds or anything. That is the yen trade. Yes. Let me see. Just real quick run through March. Yep, that was the big one. Got that. July was the basic crash. The Nikkei, the Tokyo Stock Exchange, ripped out 12.5% on that unexpected hike day. That was the single worst drop since like in 1980. global markets were dragged down. And really, I think the message was never underestimate just how much leverage sits in this cheap yen funding. In January of last year, they hiked 50 BPS, and it was really well telegraphed. Yeah, that's the one here. Really well telegraphed, and nothing happened. That could be good. It was relatively calm. Oh, yeah, then in December of last year, that's what it is. The short-term rate moved to 0.75 or 0.75, and that was the highest level for them since September of 95. And again, it was basically fully priced in. It was more of a sell the news event, and the yen actually weakened for a little bit. You can see that here as USD JPY moved up. So in just 2 years, the Bank of Japan has gone from negative interest rates to its highest policy in 30 years, and that's a huge shift. The 2-day monetary policy meeting has already begun, as I said, and their statements will drop tomorrow. It actually might be really early in the morning. It might be like too early to cover. Prediction markets like Polymarket, Kalashi are looking at no change, and that would likely be the best outcome for everybody. An unvolatile day, no change up, no pricing in of anything, but we really never know what's going to happen, especially with the FOMC in the United States coming up on Wednesday, being Powell's last FOMC ever. End of an era. There are all the pieces in play for this week to completely change and play out in ways we don't expect. Uncertainty is at all-time high in markets globally, certainly in the US. It is unclear if a resolution will be reached in Iran. There are so many question marks sitting here while this week marches on and these big events happen. It might be easy to just tune these out, but I don't think that is the right play. I think it is going to be all eyes on the yen, all eyes on the Bank of Japan, and then about 24 hours later, all eyes on Powell and the Fed. If the Bank of Japan sounds hawkish in their press meeting tomorrow, that itself could be enough to move markets. Remember, that's basically what happened back in July of 24. They sounded hawkish and markets reacted. They have not had time to price in anything. The yen is basically where it's been over the last 2 years at trading about a 158. That means it takes 158 yen to buy a dollar, or you can buy 158 yen with a dollar, vice versa. Keeping eyes on the Nikkei, the Japan's stock market, going to be huge. And I think that's all I wanted to cover. I think that's it. We got the Powells. We got the. I guess we could say on the surface right now things look pretty great. Stocks are like well above their 50-day moving averages. Momentum is certainly up. Stocks sitting are all-time high, but we are seeing that there's like some weakness or cracks underneath that. Basically, all the gains we have seen in the stock market have been concentrating into fewer and fewer stocks. It's not a broader rally. I think it's, if you subtract AI, it's like we've had red years for the last year or two. The SPY and triple Qs are stable. Smaller caps are the opposite. And I think really the bottom line is any change-ups that happen Tuesday are likely to ripple through markets, Tuesday even, and going into Wednesday, ripple through markets and can have really bigger effects than we expect. So I wanted to start this stream with a warning and a cautionary tale that things, though they have been boring, may not remain boring for long. Let me jump. Boom. We did it. We did it. We went through something. I did something. And you were here for it. What's up, guys? All right. So I wanted to do just a little homework, a little something for you all. It's Monday. And for us, it's going to be the biggest week ever. It's the last Chirp How ever. I don't even know how to cope with that at this point. We'll do it together. The Bitcoin conference is going on. I am not there. I thought it might be funny if I did like AI stuff and pretended I was there. Like have the background of there. I don't know. And be like, yeah, I'm here in Vegas. And then like go live and be like, yeah, I'm not in Vegas. Just like mess with people. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Bitcoin was looking absolutely phenomenal the last time we checked in. And that was actually very true up until an hour ago. I need to start going live, or yeah, going live earlier. Up until an hour ago, and you know, around noon as always when things seem to get crappy again. We've broken down. Looks like kind of a double top on the day, or maybe even the week forming. It is Monday, so we don't have anywhere near the end of this candle, but a pretty gnarly looking break of our range. We've lost that VWAP for now. Closing above 77.8 today is going to recover that. That's going to put Bitcoin in some great shape. The uptrend is still largely intact. Higher lows still building when you zoom out. But this is not the range that I was hoping to be in. I think technically we can trade down all the way to 75.3 and backtest our all-time high descending trend. This light blue, very nice looking trend from all the way back in October. We can backtest that, find support, and move forward. But every dollar down is a dollar closer to being in trouble. Really was hoping to see a close above 78 over the weekend. This upwards ascending. Now resistance, I suppose. Resistance trend line actually playing really neatly in price action here over the last few days. Going down to lower time frames doesn't look as terrible. You can see this is not what we want. This is not like the beautiful uptrend we had, but it hasn't been destroyed yet. And the further we go through into the day today, the more light that will be shed on that. Hopefully this is just, we went live at noon. Hopefully this is just like, you know, we went live and now the move is over and we're going to see it slowly reverse throughout the day, and it will be boring and likely, man, I don't know, likely to be not as interesting until tomorrow. The Bitcoin conference has always seemed to lead to a sell-off in Bitcoin, and this would be the crappiest time for that to happen. Absolutely the crappiest time to happen. We got to keep this. The red line is an M8. No, the red line was actually a VWAP from the bottom of the last low in November. Yeah, nice little VWAP from all the way back in November right here. We had found resistance there on Friday 2 weeks ago. As we tested that descending trend line for the first time and rejected to a higher low. I was really looking for a breakout here on Monday. Absolutely was looking for a breakout here, especially after this weekend price action. Hit our high, held the low, and then this morning even began rallying. This looked like the higher low breakout. As soon as it started looking good, it just nuked, right? Even the low here over the last few hours this morning was still solid. It was still within the channel. It still could have given us the opportunity to rally off the low. Up, Nvidia's moving. But no. In the last hour, we just got this crappy candle that closed down, and back to the grind, it seems. We're going down. Crypto Meolysis says we're going down. I mean, we've been going down. We're still going down, I guess. It's been 100,000 million years since we've been going up. Those green candles felt phenomenal last week, but we didn't get ahead of ourselves. We stayed level. That was absolutely the play. I don't think there's, what else do we have here? We had that fat cloud on the day for Ichimoku cloud. We're technically still in trend here. That is pretty reflective of what that channel was showing us, or not the channel, but the larger picture here. These intra-week lows coming up still. I really don't want to see even a dollar lower on the day. Was it the 2-day? Yeah, we tested the fat flat cloud on the 2-day. Beautiful. Price was magnetized to 78.9. You can go back and find myself many a time saying that. Finding resistance. Man, things were looking really good. Hopefully intraday today we can settle back up. That would make things look much more hopeful for the shorter term. It's hard to bet up during the Bitcoin conference. I don't think I've ever seen it rally while I've been there, and this is the first one I'm missing since like 2020. Oil continues its like most ridiculous price movements of all time. flagging out again. I'm not even going to pretend to like pick a direction here. The low from the 17th largely messed up the pattern that I think was very playable and validated itself. You can draw it out. You know, you can still say, well, it's still higher low. Sure. But I'm not even going to take a swing at oil right now. Betting down on oil just seems like a hard bet, yet it hasn't been moving up either. Is what it is. The dollar actually has the craziest candle of today. While it's only down 0.1% because of TradFi markets and the way they do gibberish. Intraday, it's actually moved from its high down 1.1%. That's going to make it one of the biggest candles. I would say one of the biggest candles of the year, right? Or the biggest red candle of the year. Sure. What a weird looking chart. Hold up. I'm getting to the chat in 2 minutes. Let me just jump through these indices and such. All-time high again on mini futures for NASDAQ. Great. Tap a new all-time high. Spend the rest of the day down at an intra low. DJI still struggling to retake the highs. I've still yet to hear an explanation as to why the DJI is lagging behind. Why it's maybe is it not as weighted to those big the gay man stocks? What it used to be FANG, now it's whatever. Maybe it's like less weighted to those. I don't know. Interesting. I'm still just like holding my breath, waiting for 50K to hit again on DJI. SPX double tapping. So stocks largely just hanging out at all-time highs. Low volatility today. Not a lot has happened quite yet. What are they waiting for? We do have some big speakers coming up. Big speakers. ScanDisk. There we go, Nimoy. Shout out to you, my friend. We have some big speakers. Senator Lummis is speaking in an hour, a little bit less than an hour. I don't think markets care that much about what she says, even though I do like a lot of the things she says, especially about crypto. The CFTC chair is going to speak at 2 p.m. today. That, of course, can be a market mover. The SEC chair at 2:20, back to back. If we're still live at 2 o'clock, we can check that out. And then I guess Senator Lummis speaks again at 3:30. Why is she speaking so much? What is she speaking on? I should have looked it up. Customer confidence comes in tomorrow for the U.S. I think it's coming off higher numbers from the last reading. Wednesday morning, of course, we're going to have the FOMC Wednesday, but we have building permits, durable goods, and then, yeah, the Bitcoin conference day 3. One of the big reasons I'm not there. Oh, ScanDisk. If only we had put all of our money in ScanDisk, all of us, back here, just in March. We would have mooned already. I guess ScanDisk is just like going for the gold, man. I had some expectations of it pulling back at 1,000. Here we are at 1,064. I'm out of upside targets, honestly. This is when I always get nervous with charts. It's like we've hit all the extensions. We just like keep moving up, having healthy pullbacks, but we've hit our extensions to the upside. It's like, what do we do next? We can start using like the 3 and the 4 extensions on our fib, but typically I get a little anxious, meaning in this scenario, I have seen some big moves play out still, but those moves usually without a grander, longer term retracement are like the blow off tops or kind of the ends of these rallies. So I'm still checking out ScanDisk. No Nimoy is printing. If you've jumped into this or looking to jump into it, I know I'm not a bear. I'm being a bear. It's like I would take some I would lock in profits as I was moving up. I would not look for another 100% move on this, like to 2,000 in this year. That's probably asking too much. All right. ScanDisk, Ethereum is pooping the bed along with the rest of crypto. RUT, really the same as all other indices, staying sideways. Tesla hitting that lower high, moving back down. Yikes. USDT, tether dominance moving up, still on the flag formation, still looking for that to break out. What else do we got? What else am I missing? What else is good today? Bitcoin really does not open with it opened with a tiny gap on CME, immediately closed. No new gap here. Gap remains above us up to 84.1. below us at 67.5. MicroStrategy chilling. NVIDIA, this is okay. I got the NVIDIA alert. This short was placed a long time ago in NVIDIA. It did just get smoked. NVIDIA now at all-time highs today. All-time highs. Using our fib tool as we usually do, breaking all-time highs gives us upside targets of 275. I'll say 250 and 275. Great positions to take profit on this NVIDIA run if it goes. You're basically at the all-time high. I think, you know, when you retest highs, in my experience, you usually look for shorts, but maybe if you're looking for long, you're looking for the breakout retest play. Something like 225 back to 200, retest previous resistance as support, and then looking to play into this zone. I think that's playable. What else broke? MU continuing its rally. 𝐂𝐴𝐐𝐴𝐴𝐻, we'll get to Ape. Jesus, I hate you, 𝐂𝐴𝐻. I hate this whole. I hate everything. I hate it all. Who car? RBS. Okay. Yeah. Let's throw the corn up. Let's watch her eat shit and let me refresh the chat. What are you guys doing? What are we feeling? Micron, rip the wave. What's up, Wolf? How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Holding ScanDisk till earnings. Do you? Like I said, that's what I would do. I would lock something in. And when I say that, I'm never suggesting dumping a whole position. I'm always saying I would take something off the table. When you're up big, man, taking something off the table, it's just, it always ages well. It's like always ages well. Bitcoin retesting its low from the sell-off an hour ago. This is not looking good. Short term, looking for further downside intraday. Perhaps reacting already to what's going on tomorrow or later this week. I don't know. Maybe. Let me do some lower time frame fibs. What do we got here? 75.7. 75. Meh. Kind of mid looking retracements. Currently at the 0.5. Yeah, not holding up well here. This is the ugly setup. Like leg down, lower high sold into to the immediate retest to the low, and you get like maybe another little bounce. You're like absolutely looking to sweep that liquidity minimum, if not lower. Ape is going to zero. Yeah, well, that is what I would say. Ape is going to go to zero. However, it rallied more after the stream. Jesus. I put an alert at 25 cents while we were live, and that alert hit. However, just for what, a second, a candle. I hate that this does not. This looks like something that can run. This whole move is honestly pretty bullish looking. The big top wicks, of course, are showing us selling pressure, but being absorbed, higher highs. I mean, as long as Ape holds above 10 cents, like is looking maybe to move higher. I cannot imagine longing this. We did a pretty long talk about just shit coins in general on the last stream when we saw this run. I recommend you go back and watch that. Listen to it if you're feeling something about this. Like, this is just gonna run until people buy into it. As soon as they buy into it, just the centralized owners of this coin are going to take all the profits. They're using very little amounts of money very safely to push this up. There's no sellers. The sellers are capitulated. There's no like resistance above them. They're just trying to whip up more like new liquidity, new buyers, and get them trapped. I wouldn't touch this, man. Be safe. Do you? What else we got? Dogecoin to Doge. What is Doge doing? Is it doing anything at all? People pump lunacy. Well, yeah, you were there, Darkside. I did a whole rant about centralized coins, right? When somebody imagines a coin into existence, which largely all of these are, meaning it's not proof of work. When they just create a supply and they give it to themselves, they have just like total control over the price, essentially. That's a long story short. And then when you have charts like this, where certainly there were people in here, I'm sure, looking at this coin, thinking it's going to go higher back in 2022, maybe even to 23, into the bull market thinking it was going to rip higher. Like, everyone who bought supply from that centralized original source just got handed a bag. They all were trapped. Virtually no one was able to ever sell out of this in a profit. And as price just ground down, they sold. People sold. There is likely only the centralized supply holders left. Any retail holding this is just not going to sell because maybe they lost the coins. Maybe, I don't know, at this point, they're just like sunk cost fallacy. Like, there are just no more available. There's just no more sellers. The sellers are just the market makers here. And when that happens, there's no upside resistance. Like, the books are clear because they've just all market sold down. In that scenario, when you own the supply, it can be pretty safe, and it can take very little amounts of money comparatively to do something like this. Like, this went up 77% a day. It actually went much higher intraday. And the market cap, I don't know what it was, might have gone up like $1 billion, right? It went up some huge amount of money, but it did not take $1 billion to do that. It might have taken like 10K. It might have taken like 100K, right? They likely owned all of the upside resistance, all the upside order book, removed it, bought into it, let it fly, and then essentially as soon as new volume would come in, they would sell into it. And we see this happen over and over again in crypto, man. It's just like clockwork. Sometimes I can continue to run. I even said that on Friday, as this did continue to run that day. But what happens is, like, you'll never catch it. You'll never get the move. As soon as people start moving into it, it's just going to be done. It's going to do another one of these legs. We've seen this for a decade. It's just clockwork, dude. It's so dependable. Hopefully nobody gets too boned. Let me see. Nothing. It's kind of a quiet day outside of crypto. Crypto's melting down as usual. Something good happens, crypto melts down. Something bad happens, crypto melts down. It seems to be the case here. Yeah, Doge. That Doge. The Doji. Stopped with altcoins in October. I mean, I wish I had stopped with altcoins way before then. Sheesh. Sheesh. Doge. Honestly, I was so bullish on Doge. Maybe I don't have to say this every time I talk about charts, but I like to. I was so bullish on Doge, man. Like in 2024, 23 into 24, and obviously you guys know I was bullish many years before. But up until October of last year, I was still so bullish. Like, this chart, minus any of that price action, was a chart going to all-time high. Huge higher highs, huge higher lows on every macro time frame. You were seeing this thing juice. Whatever happened in October absolutely wrecked this rally. Struggled to at all move up. Only selling pressure. You finally broke a low. And then the shittiest part, I don't know if it's true on whatever exchange this is. Maybe it's not here, but shittiest part being you retested August's low and you changed this setup. You have a lower low on the chart. You're no longer in that huge uptrend. And of course we could say that happened in October, but that really just like cemented it. My bullishness has changed on Doge. So I'm not mega bearish. I still think after this big move here that Doge will attempt a rally of some kind. I just am less now in the boat of like retaking all-time highs in any kind of near future. This now looks a lot like most altcoins. Doge looked different for a while, but now looks just like almost every altcoin after enough time. And let me see. Crap. Here it is. After enough time, and what we tend to see is this. Like, you have, let's call this like 2017 for most coins, and then like 2021, and then what? 2024. Like, it now looks like everything else. Everything else has done this. Now, Doge did it kind of on a different time frame. Like 2021 was its high, then 25, 24, whatever, hit this lower high. So it's like 4 years later than most of like these coins around its age. But most of these coins around its age that have done this have gone on in the next cycle to just make another lower high. I don't like that. I do not like this setup. I haven't like panic sold my remaining Doge or anything. Anything can happen. I still believe in Doge as proof of work. But man, whatever happened in October just nuked this chart. Absolutely nuked it. Maybe you can keep some hopium alive on the Bitcoin pair because you haven't retested October's low. Maybe. You might look for like a move at 100 sats on Doge for a long. I don't know. I think it's not a great bet. Honestly, what I've seen over all these cycles is whatever people get really into. Yeah, look at this. This trade, I don't even remember placing this. This was so long ago. But this trade was such a solid trade. September 23rd. And then just goodbye. October, it was over. Over October. What I was saying is, through the cycles, I've seen just this pattern, right? Of whatever is hyped, just never performing again. I guess Litecoin can get thrown in there. I'll start off with the self-burn Litecoin in 2017, like hyped, never did shit again. I'll say the next cycle, 21, like Ethereum, right? Like, or I guess I'm doing that too in the wrong cycles. I'm getting old. Like Ethereum, super hyped in 21 as well, then just never went back. Never like, wait, no. Why am I getting confused? Too many numbers in my head today. There we go. Super hyped into 21, yeah. Super hyped, didn't break the high. You look at Solana, super hyped. Everybody was going into it. I think it was again 21. Didn't do shit again. Didn't break its all-time high again. Then like Doge, until October, I didn't think was in that same category, but seemingly as it's like whatever was hyped, whatever retail bought into, it's like apparently can never perform again. And I guess that makes sense. Like retail gets trapped into these things at high prices. They slowly over time unload, whether it's like at the bottom or just randomly, and that pushes the price down. Then when price ever attempts a rally back to highs, it has so much resistance there. I think that's what we saw in Solana, though I would argue that was probably more just like the centralized supply. Centralized actors doing it. Less retail. Oh, shit, let me get back to that one. Yeah, it looks like crap. Hyped into 21. Yeah, hit 2, whatever. It broke all-time high, but for crypto purposes, it just never broke all-time high. It just went right back. I hope this is not the fate of everything. But doesn't it feel like it's the fate of everything that gets hyped? The only exception seems to be Bitcoin, so maybe it's good that Bitcoin has not been the center of attention over the last, like, I don't know, few cycles. Like, nobody's giving a shit. Maybe that's why it continues to run. It is what it is. Should we go back and Fartcoin? Beancoin. Oh, man. Bitcoin, you look like really bad. I still can't, dude. I can't believe Litecoin didn't get a run. I can't believe it. I mean, I can't believe it. And I can't believe it because I've just sat here for a decade watching it not do it. But it's like bonkers to me that it didn't just at minimum hit like 420 again, like retest highs. Oh, it's cute text. Yeah, it seems as if alts are boned, and so people keep asking, is there going to be another alt season? Probably. It likely won't look like what we remember alt seasons to be like. We'll probably get one at a time where Bitcoin loses dominance in the space. Hasn't really been happening. Hasn't actually been happening, but like meaningfully, it will likely happen again. But I have this feeling what that means is that these old coins that we're all holding onto still will rally from wherever they are, from wherever the lows are. But we likely just won't see them break all-time high. We won't see them make crazy moves, and it'll be other random shit. The new shiny thing that makes big moves and then starts the cycle over again, right? Blasts to some high, people start jumping in and they bought the top and now they're waiting for like a decade. So far, it seems like just Bitcoin is not part of that. Like it's the only one that has put in all-time highs, cycle over cycle over cycle. I would prefer this not to be true. Bitcoin is going to increase dominance over time. You know, that's an interesting thing. I haven't ranted about it in a while. Bitcoin increase or decrease in dominance over time? The question does probably boil down to, like, are you counting stablecoins? Because the growth of stablecoins and Tether could it depends what it looks like into the future, but that could put a damper on it. It is a cool question to kind of explore. I didn't know, actually, that dominance had rallied to 60.6, which seems big, but, you know, is not in the realm of things. We have been in the same range for a year, between like 58 and 59. But over time, will dominance increase or decrease? And so the answer is an unsatisfying both. Both. Bitcoin dominance will never return to its highest points. Ever. Mark my words. It will never return to its highest points. Mathematically, it's just not possible. You can't do it. Bitcoin dominance was 100% when it began. It was the only market cap. New coins were added, and then it could never be 100%. And that's like the reality of it for the long term. So can it go higher than it's ever been? No. But will it continue to increase? I think so. I think from these 17 and 21 or 20, whatever, 18 and 22 lows, I think we do have higher highs coming. And I was actually a big advocate throughout all of the bull run that we were going to see dominance break. Here we go. Bitcoin breaking down. Break 2021's high of 73. I was looking for like 74 or something. 74 plus. That was not a popular opinion at the time. There we go. Bitcoin sweeping the lows at minimum here already. This morning's low taken. Seeing a green candle. Because of course we are. You just wanted my attention for a second. It got jealous I wasn't paying attention. I was an advocate for breaking 74 during the bull cycle. That obviously didn't happen either. Kind of an important part of this chart that most people, for some reason, have never noticed is 2021's low, even though alt season felt so crazy during this time, right? From 21 all the way to whatever, 22. Alt season felt so crazy. It never was actually crazier than 2018, 2017, 18. Dominance was lower. We actually had a higher low throughout that entire insanity of alts time period, which is meaningful. A higher low here. All we needed was that higher high at 74 during this run to give us an uptrend from 2018, 17's low. Now, we're not going back to 100%, but who knows? Like, Bitcoin could easily move back, I don't know, 75% of the market, 80% of the market, especially with the way things have been moving in the alts, just the alt everything, right? It seems that there's like projects launch and they can run for a bit and then it's over. And like very, very little, if anything, honestly, has been gaining on Bitcoin. So like there's just really no downside pressure on this chart. For a while, BNB was a contender. Binance Coin was definitely making ground on Bitcoin over time, which is incredibly rare. But that era seems to have ended as well. It might be a little early to say, to call it. But that era kind of looks like it's coming to an end. It had a big expansive period. Topped out now in November of 22. So I guess at the bear market bottom. Very interesting. Maybe that reminds me of Link, and maybe BNB will have another run at the end of this bear market, but failed high at the end. Came down in October like everything else. That's like the only one that still was available or still possible. TRX, actually not a contender, but TRX stands out in the sense of very stable versus Bitcoin. Since like 2020, it's gained ground against Bitcoin. but since 18, it's lost ground against Bitcoin. It's like in the middle, and this could resolve with a break to the upside. I think it will. I don't know how I can like explain that other than this chart is crazy. TRX, like mark my words, Tron is either going to just explode at some point as fuck. Like, I don't know. Whether it's the next bull run or in the bear market, I don't know. It's either going to explode as fuck, like 10x really quickly, or it's just going to completely rug. I don't think that we're going to see anything in between. Like, look at this weekly chart. I've pointed this out many times on this channel, but like, look at this weekly chart. No, Tron doesn't pay me. Nobody pays me to talk well about coins. I own a little bit of Tron and, you know, disclose and clarity, but like, dude, this is insane. On the week, it's insane. Just nothing looks like this. I don't know. Doesn't seem that things can continue to gain ground against Bitcoin, so that makes the future pretty bleak for a low Bitcoin dominance. We're still largely undecided here though, right? Higher low, lower high. This is still coiling, and it could by all means just continue to coil for decades. Like, it doesn't, nothing says it has to break out. That's why the move up here would have been so definitive, because it would have given this chart like a macro direction. Lower high, higher low. We just wait. I can't believe this. This is the least, this is the thing that I like least likely would have guessed ever was going to happen. And that's so fitting for Bitcoin. Like, from 2000, the bear market bottom, all Bitcoin did was climb in dominance. Tops out June 25th. Just June 25th. Why? Just June 25th. Yeah, I don't know. Just June 25th. Doesn't matter. Just not the bull market top. Nothing. Just June 25th. And then falls and spends the rest of the time just moving sideways for a year. Like, this was, how did this happen? 260 days in like a 1% range. Since then, we have been looking at Bitcoin dominance minus tether, and it gives us a little bit better of a picture. It gives the chart a little more direction, a little more trend. It shows that same top in June of 25, but it shows that dominance actually has been moving down since then, with the exception of the last few days, last few weeks. But that's like more definitive, right? It has a clearer direction. In addition, if you remove just tether, not even stablecoin, just tether, you also have a lower low on dominance from 2018 to 2022, which I don't know if that really makes sense to me, but I guess it doesn't have to make sense. A lower low and a lower high. Thus, this is a more definitive chart. This is more of a downtrend, which would suggest then that alts, right? That alts would have a better time. It's very confusing. What I really think is happening, though, is we're going to get a higher low, whether it is right here or obviously it could be lower. A higher low on this chart, and then we're going to break for a higher high into the start of like the next bull market. That's my guess. That is my best assessment. XRP, I was thinking of XRP as well when I was talking kind of like what charts have done what, especially against Bitcoin over time. XRP has obviously been, it has been stable, more stable than a lot of coins against Bitcoin. I would argue not quite as stable as TRX. TRX also has like a little bit more of an upside bias. That's why I chose it as an example. More of a flag here. A lot more like tighter bound range, where XRP has had some fluctuations. Those fluctuations unfortunately seem to like kind of only be to the downside since 2018. Had some upside moves. It is right where it was. We can say even back in 2013, right? If you had bought XRP in 2013, you'd be break even against Bitcoin right now, which is a crazy concept. You'd be break even. It's a wild concept. Unfortunately, I had never heard of anyone buying XRP until like 2027. And at that point, yeah, you weren't doing so great. That could be true though of TRX as well. You'd be down pretty significantly from the high there. One thing that I don't like about the XRP chart for a BTC pair though is this looks like dog shit, dude. This does not look good. This wick could save you in the sense of like, okay, you filled all that inefficient price action, but This is not a great look. Lower highs, just constant lower highs since 25. Retesting support at roughly the same level. Lower highs, sellers crunching this. Basically looking to break this low. That could mean, though, that there's some juicy discounts or valuations coming for XRP. I placed this black bar over that wick to give a better idea. Like, if you get rid of that October wick, you can see this flat-bottomed descending high setup much better. But again, this isn't at all about XRP. This is about everything. I struggle to find any exceptions to this at all. Just seems like this is the fate, I suppose. I don't want it to be true. Do I trade stocks at all, Camshaft? Yeah, we talk about stocks a lot. I was just on like a little rant there about different altcoins and such. Currently looking mostly, I'd say ScanDisk has been one we've been watching the most lately. Nvidia has been back on the radar. We'll see how this plays out. But Hood got boring. Hood lost this momentum. MicroStrategy, we had some really, really solid stuff on MSTR recently. Oil, gold, and silver, we haven't watched this much lately because they just haven't been moving. ASML. ASML is making me wonder, though. I feel like as more time goes on here, even though I love the macro of this chart, this breakout and back test of the trend here is the stuff dreams are made out of. Like, I love this. This to me, honestly, this to me could remind me of gold a long time ago. When I say a long time ago, like 2 years ago. I'll show you what I mean. Here we go. Obviously, different time frames. But when I say it reminds me of gold, it's like gold had this crazy trend from your 2 previous all-time highs. This trend line, basically price was trading below it for a decade plus. And on this channel, when we were watching gold break, we saw the break and the back test of that trend line. And when that happens, this was back late 24. I think we even said it maybe earlier, late 24, early 25, saying gold's about to go parabolic. Like, it's broken this crazy trend line. It's held support there. That's how price exploration and the insane moves come. And looking at ASML, obviously this is only the course of a few years versus like decades, right? But it's really the same concept. It's like you have this macro trend above. You didn't reject from it. You broke it. You back tested it. Like, you can look for it to go parabolic now. I'm surprised that it's still trading sideways at this level. I don't actually like the way this looks on like the day. This looks more and more like distribution to me as time goes on. But I haven't lost hope here yet. I still think a higher low can be in play in a move higher, but like I don't know what's happening here. I don't like this. It's looking weaker and weaker. When it came down to that trend and bounced, it was ready to go. Something's holding this back now. Let's see. What is the RMBS? I don't even remember what this was. We were looking at this on what, Friday, Wednesday. I had a great weekend. Did you guys have a great weekend? I think AI, data center, crypto will be tied together. Oh, yo, what's up, Steve? What's up, my guy? What's up, my guy? Oil costs will decimate Bitcoin mining and AI. Well, the cost of energy moving up. You know, I've actually thought both sides of this before. I thought both sides of this, that cheap energy could be bad and that expensive energy could be bad. I like how you guys are both like asking a question that's intertwined. So AI, data center, and crypto tied together. So that's a really good question. There are some things I think everyone should know to kind of lay down this argument in your head as you think of it, because I don't have the answer. I'll just tell you what I think. And I'll give you the information I have, and you know, Father Time will tell us. But so AI data centers and Bitcoin mining are definitely at odds in ways. They are fundamentally the exact same thing. They're doing the exact same thing. They require almost the exact same thing. Their demand is almost the exact same thing. They are basically taking energy, using processors, and creating value. We'll say value. It's the easiest way to do it. They're both doing that. A way that it may not be apparent to all that they're not at odds is Bitcoin mining uses ASICs, which are specialty computers that only do mining. They're set up to be optimized for mining. Those pieces of hardware cannot be used, at least to my knowledge at this point, cannot be used for AI data centers. Of course, there's crossover, you know, the demand for processors and chips and RAM and whatever is like going to be a universal shared thing. And so they are competing for, we can even say, you know, fab factories or something to make their software. I don't know if AI has ASICs yet. They certainly will in the future, but those are separate machines. So at least right there, they're not at odds. They're using different hardware. They're still admittedly drawing from the same pool, though. They're drawing from the same pool of like total global output of those things. They're obviously competing for the same energy. The value that they output is going to dictate to what degree they can demand that energy. I think Bitcoin has a unique advantage over AI data centers in some scenarios with energy, especially when energy, let's say like when energy demands are very high and energy spikes, Bitcoin mining can just turn off. Like it can just relax, right? AI data centers aren't going to do that. They might suspend, you know, some things, they might trim down, but they won't just simply turn off the way Bitcoin will, because they're going to have service. They're going to have like, they have to like provide this service, whereas mining doesn't. When costs are very low, Bitcoin again is going to function differently in the sense of when costs are very low, even inefficient miners are going to turn on. That should support the cost of energy by buying the lowest hanging fruit of energy. That will probably be to the detriment of data centers, you know, slightly. But data centers aren't going to do that same. They're not going to respond to the energy price change the way Bitcoin will. That's kind of the point I'm getting at. Data centers demand and stuff is going to be pretty flat. Its use is going to be pretty flat, or, you know, whatever, growing, doesn't matter. Whereas Bitcoin can be much more dynamic, and it can be dynamic because of what it's doing and what it's providing. The question about energy costs, you know, oil price goes up, energy costs go up. That's fundamental. That's true. I have been on both sides of this issue at different times, and reality is I don't know where I've landed. I'm not sure. I'll walk you through it. So energy price is high. We can say, okay, that's bad for mining because the cost of mining goes up. Miners have to pay more. And then logically, if they're paying more, they need to sell more of their Bitcoin that they mine to cover the costs. That's a logical stance. Nothing wrong with that. However, that is still balanced out by the simple turning off of machines. You know, mining will just reduce, it'll pull back, and then the difficulty adjustment mechanism will slowly bring back profitability. And so I can understand a short-term bearish bias on high energy costs, at least short-term, if not longer. However, I can also make kind of a similar argument. I can make a similar argument for energy being cheap. And this is where it gets interesting, I think. So let's imagine a world where energy is free. Hopefully the future, knock on wood, you know, pray, thoughts and prayers. A future where energy is free and unlimited. Anything can mine. Anything and everything can mine. Doesn't matter how inefficient a device is, it still technically would be profitable. And when you do that, there's no, let's say, there's no incentive to hold the coins, I guess, and you have no cost basis. It's free. You have no price that you need to hit when profitability is like taken out of the question. And at kind of its core of Bitcoin, energy is like a tokenization of energy. You know, it's like a a proof of energy use. And if you remove the value of that energy, I think there is logic to think that you're removing the value of that representation of that coin, right? I've been on both sides of this. I don't actually know what extreme would be better, free energy or expensive energy. What would be, I don't know. I think that there is definitely a threat to Bitcoin if energy is free, because then what is it representing? You know, the computing power, I guess. I think that removes some of its fundamental value out of its equation, and that can be difficult. Maybe I rambled there, but I've thought both sides. At times I was like worried. I was like, man, if energy becomes too cheap, that could be bad. And then there's been times where I've thought, man, if energy was too expensive, that also can be bad. I wonder if the answer is really in between of it. Maybe just doesn't really matter over the long run. Over the short term, I think you could have impacts either way. But I think maybe in the bigger picture, it doesn't matter. Only because it doesn't seem clear that one would be better than the other to me. Those are my thoughts. My teaching moments are the best. The moments where I'm just like in my own head thinking, like I've had this argument with myself. And I've been on both sides. And I don't know. I think Bitcoin was created with a free energy future in mind. I think Bitcoin was created partially with the thought that it would push the world to a free, unlimited energy future. And well, I think you could argue if it's happened or not at all so far. Bitcoin does support that. It's very healthy and supportive of electric grids. It's very healthy and supportive of energy manufacturers. Can eat supply when demand is low, and it can create revenue for them when supply is low. Energy is very wavy. If you have ever looked into like energy usage in any area during the day, during working hours, when like industrial, commercial, and whatever is operating, energy use is huge. And then after, 5 p.m., that drops. It's just residential use mostly, and the demand is very spiky. And what Bitcoin can do is help flatten that curve. When it's cheaper, you can have machines turn on, and when it's expensive, you want machines to turn off. And so it's almost the opposite wave, right? Like the demand wave of energy. It's like day high, night low. Bitcoin almost gives an opposite wave of that, where it's like it can increase demand when it's nighttime and decrease during the day, and it can help create a healthier grid, more sustained grid. I don't know. The news tells me that Bitcoin's bad. That's true. Oh yeah, dude. If energy is free, it's a shift in everything. And that would never be an overnight thing. That would be awesome if it was. But it would be a gradual thing. Because even if we have cold fusion tomorrow, right? This is something that people I think fail to understand. It's like if we had cold fusion tomorrow, we have free unlimited energy, we would have to scale it. It wouldn't be overnight. It would take a very long time, I assume, to scale it out to replace all energies. And you would need whatever materials, whatever minerals, I don't know whether they're required, we have them or not. It wouldn't be overnight, but it would be a shift that I think is the only path we have. It's like we transition to that future, or we're going extinct, right? I don't think that we can keep squeezing blood out of the stone when it comes to like energy sources and such. I think we have to go like fusion, or fusion or so, like from the sun, one or the other. Nah, rambling on. How about the Clarity Act? Screw the Clarity Act. I don't know. Realistically, nothing good has happened for crypto. Nothing good has happened for crypto in this administration. I'm not going to say anything good happened for crypto in the previous administration either, though we did get ETFs, but I'm not even going to argue that those were good. I don't think the Clarity Act really would have been great for us either. I think that it was more in the interest of banks and of the fiat system. I don't expect there to be any positive advancements for crypto via the government this year, next year, the year after. Honestly, I don't know. It could be a very long time. until there's like a truly supportive regime of crypto. I don't think that we should hold our breath or put our eggs in that basket. I think that data centers, back to the data centers and AI centers, Bitcoin thing. I think that there's probably incentive and logic to have kind of a balance. Have a balance if like an AI center to have some kind of mining capacity for those low cost energy, low demand times. And what would be really cool, really cool is if someone could invent like an ASIC machine that could do both like an AI processing and perform as like an ASIC for Bitcoin. So basically, if there was a way to take, I don't know if it's SHA-256 or whatever, and use the work done on the Bitcoin network to produce simultaneously like AI computation. I don't know what that looks like. Just a concept. That'd be very interesting though. Bitcoin adjustments, hash rate. Bitcoin adjustments, hash rate. Bitcoin's difficulty adjustment is based on hash rate. It's like every 2018 blocks, right? 2018 blocks? No, that's the halving. It's about every 14 days. The average hash rate is like in the code, like compared to the previous, and then it just makes an adjustment, like basically makes mining harder or easier. If there's more hash rate, it makes it harder. If there's less, it makes it easier. And it's like an equilibrium seeking dynamic. It's when if mining energy doubles overnight and mining probably collapses versus its previous drops, and blocks then take a long time to bake, then the difficulty adjustment eventually kicks in and makes it more profitable, makes it easier to mine, and so it brings the profitability back to positive. It's pretty brilliant. It's a pretty brilliant system. The only holes in the system maybe is like if mining were to drop so hard so quickly, like you have like a difficulty adjustment and it goes up a lot, and then like 99% of mining shuts off for some reason the next day. The flaw would be like, well, you could in theory be in a scenario where it would just take too long to mine enough blocks to see that difficulty adjustment again, which has been proposed by doomers as like a death spiral scenario. It doesn't seem like something that's ever like realistic, but is what it is. Bitcoin broke that daily parallel channel. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that either. It's looking pretty beat. It's looking beat street. This is a beautiful channel. As you know, we can close today higher and be fine. And as I said in the intro, we can trade lower. We can trade down to even like 75 if we can find support and retake our highs, and we're fine. And we've kind of done this price action. If you look at these moves, we have done price action kind of similar to that on the way up so far, twice. But it is a less comfortable place to be. Above this trend line, and I'm happy-ish. Below that trend line, and I'm very unhappy. I'm very back to like waiting for the next leg down. So far, it's all right. It's unexciting again. Open a scalp position. If I were to look for a scalp position, I would realistically, I'd probably be looking for this. Like back test, you could look for a short here. Realistically, yeah, something like this. Like short here, maybe long here. Something like that. Oh, scalping today. I'm not doing shit today. Give us that sweet hopium. You got it, baby. They already have to give legal pathway for banks and institutions to build their own blockchains. I stick to everything I said. I doubt. I did say I think it's in interest of banks and institutions. That's spot on still. But I also just don't think it really matters to us. I don't think that will like help us moon. Don't forget to long Bitcoin as soon as they finish the stream. True. Go for it. Yeah, Bitcoin using formerly wasted energy sources. That's the equilibrium seeking. That's the goodies. Petro industry would kill the idea of free energy. Of course they will. Of course, that's what we've seen them do over the last 20 years. That's why there's people out there who think that we should fight against renewable energy sources. It's just like the tobacco companies, the tobacco CEOs coming and telling you tobacco is not addictive and it doesn't give you cancer. Sure. CEDUS. ETF socks. What's that? Only because you've brought me some goodies, Johnny. What the hell is CEDUS doing? Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is not bad. It's not looking too shabby. It's all right. This is cool. Here's some coolies, right? Right here. That's pretty beautiful. I inverted the chart. That's pretty. That's juicy. Your previous high swept the previous high. Of course, this is all upside down. Low swept the low. Retest. Painted a neckline. I mean, this could be an inverted head and shoulders. Could be looking for some more upside here. Let's see what this neckline's doing. Not bad. I think there's a long play. I don't know what this coin is. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. But I can see a long play. You broke your high after a higher low, yeah. And it was at all-time low in February, which just always you gotta know you're always playing a knife if you're looking at a chart like this. But why not? Why not? 50 cents, 53 cents. What are we at? Oh shit, we're at 3 cents. Oh, I didn't mean 50. Sorry, 5. Yeah, I was like, whoa. More than 10x? Okay. Yeah, what about 5 cents? This is a play. That's possible. It doesn't line up with any of our fibs or anything. The fibs are not really about that number, but we don't always have to agree with the fibs. I like that. It's juicing. Still is like it's still struggling at this recent high. Like it did break it, but yesterday closed below. Today traded above. Now trading back below. Interesting. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, they're 4-1. You could do a 1-1, and you could have it all the way down here. Still be 1-1. Two to 1. I can see it. I'm not taking this trade, but I can see it. I'm waiting for better weather. Yeah. Could be like a scalp with a really tight stop, or I mean, you do like spot, you could have it. Stop loss could just be anywhere, it doesn't even matter. I don't hate it. I do not hate it. Weird chart. But could be good. If you see trading down, I don't know, under like 2.5 cents, then this is probably just a big old trap. But I like this up here. I like untested resistance at the measured move, at the like breakout of the neckline. There's something here. It's not the worst. It's not the worst gamble. Lowly. Hour and 10 in. All right, that's kind of what I was looking at. This is what I was looking at. It's about right. Let's take a moment. Have you liked the stream? Have you subscribed to the channel? Do both those things right now. Go ahead. Give you a sec. Hit the like button. Subscribe. There you go. Well done. You did great. I'm proud of you. After that, check out our links. Have you signed up with either of our exchange partners, BYDFi or FEMIX? Links in the video description below. Great exchanges. I've worked with them for years. I've had, honestly, like almost no issues. You guys have come to me with very, very few issues over those years. Maybe one a year, maybe less. If you sign up with them, you'll get some big bonuses, some sign-up bonuses, deposit bonuses. You'll get access to trading events, things like that. Most importantly, though, you will have me on your side. If you ever have an issue with them, come to me. I'll get it solved for you. You'll also get VIP roles in our Discord, discord.gg/TomCrown. It's free, but you'll get VIP roles just by using one of our links to sign up. You help support the stream because you know, we don't grift, we don't beg. We're just sharing out of the goodness of goodness, really. But I appreciate you guys. Wednesday will be the largest, most important FOMC of our lives, and certainly of Powell's life, as we will go live at 1:30 to cover Jerome Powell's last FOMC as chair. It's going to be a historic event. Put it on your calendars. April 29th, Wednesday the 29th, 1:30 p.m. East. Be here. Put it on your calendar. It's going to be a good time. This week, we started out, if you missed the intro of the stream, go ahead and rewatch it. This week has some potential to be very interesting. Recommend you check that intro out, rewatch it. I don't know, it's like probably 10 minutes. I do appreciate you tuning in with me today. Hope you all had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. I got silly. We're going to call it here. Go have some lunch. Take care of yourself.